Hello students, you are going to write your periodic test 2, right? Hope you are all preparing well for periodic test 2. Now we will revise for our periodic test 2. Overall, you will be writing your periodic test 2 for 50 marks. This is your question paper pattern. Roman letter 1, choose the correct answer. You will get 7 questions. In that, each question carries 1 mark. So totally 7 marks for choose the correct answer. First, you have to read the question carefully. Then, you have to write the question number 1 and then write the correct option. If B is correct, then write option B and write the correct answer. Likewise, you have to answer all the 7 questions. Roman letter 2, fill in the blanks. Here also you will get 7 questions. In that, each question carries 1 mark. So totally 7 marks for fill in the blanks. Roman letter 3, match column A with column B. In section A, you will have 6 questions. In that, each question carries half mark. So totally 3 marks for section A. Likewise, in section B also, you will have 6 questions. In that, each question carries half mark. So totally 3 marks for section B. Roman letter 4, answer the following questions briefly. Here, you will get 5 questions. In that, each question carries 2 marks. So totally 10 marks for short answer questions. Roman letter 5, distinguish between the following. Here, you will get 2 questions. In that, each question carries 2.5 marks. So, totally 5 marks for distinguish between the following. Roman letter 6, answer the following questions in detail. Here you will get 2 questions. In that, each question carries 5 marks. So totally 10 marks for detailed answers. Roman letter 7, map skill. Here you will get 5 areas. Students, first you have to locate and mark the areas correctly. For each correct answer, you will get 1 mark. So totally 5 marks for map skill. Now we are going to revise the second chapter in history, which is New Kings and Kingdoms. Now let's see the gist of the lesson. The Rashtrakutas, the Gurjara Pratikaras, the Palas, the tripartite struggle, Gurjara Pratikaras, Rashtrakutas and Palas. Next we have the Rajputs, the Chauhans, the battles of Tarain, Sultan Muhammad of Ghazni, administration of the kingdoms, revenue and revenue collection. Then we have the Cholas, a case study. Under this we have administration, art and architecture, bronze sculptures. Finally, we have agriculture and irrigation. First, we are going to learn about the tripartite struggle, Gurjara Pratikaras, Rashtrakutas and Palas, the 3 dynasties of the early medieval period. The Gurjara Pratikaras, Rashtrakutas and Palas fought with each other to acquire control over Kannauj. Kannauj was considered a hub of power on the fertile plains of the northern India. So, the Gurjara Pratikaras, Rashtrakutas and Palas were the 3 dynasties of the early medieval period. They fought with each other to acquire control over Kannauj. Kannauj was considered a hub of power. Here, hub means center or focus. So, Kannauj was considered a focus of power on the fertile plains of the northern India. Here, fertile means soil or land producing or capable of producing abundant, which means large or great vegetation or crops. So, Kanauj was considered a hub of power on the fertile plains of the northern India. It was an important center and trade and agriculture flourished in this area. Thus, it was a matter of prestige to be ruling Kanauj. The three dynasties kept fighting with each other to gain this prestigious area. As there were three dynasties fighting amongst each other, it got the name of tripartite struggle. Here, flourish means grow or develop in a healthy way. Prestige means respect or status. Prestigious means respected or important. Dynasties means a sequence of rulers from the same family. So, it was an important center and trade and agriculture flourished. So, flourished means developed in a healthy way in this area. Thus, it was a matter of prestige. So, here prestige means respect or status. So, it was a matter of prestige to be ruling Kanauj. So, the three dynasties kept fighting with each other to gain this prestigious area, which means respected or important area, as there were three dynasties fighting amongst each other. So, it got the name of tripartite struggle. Since their armies were near equal in capabilities, there were no definite victors. Here, victors means winners. So, since their armies were equal in capabilities, there were no definite winners. However, the constant battles kept weakening them over a period of time. They did not realize this, and eventually rulers from other dynasties captured the territories. Here, territories means areas of all three, and these dynasties perished, which means fallen simultaneously, which means at the same time. Finally, the real power passed into the hands of the Chandalas, the Chauhans, the Paramars, and other dynasties, all of whom are considered to be Rajputs. The Rajputs were considered as the sons of rulers. They were known to be of two descents, the sun and the moon gods, the Surya Vanshi and the Chandravanshi respectively. Here, descent means the origin or background of a person in terms of family or nationalities. In other words, ancestors. So, Rajputs were known to be of two descents, the sun and the moon gods, that is, the Surya Vanshi and the Chandra Vanshi respectively. In the northern part of India, Rajputs played a very important role between the 9th and 12th century CE. They established many independent states. There was no central controlling authority which could bring them together into a single unit or empire, which means kingdom. Some of the prominent, here prominent means important Rajput kingdoms were the Chauhans of Ajmer and Delhi, Paramars of Malwa region, Chihadawalas or Rathurs of Kanauj, and Shishodiyas of Mewar. Next, we are going to learn about the Chauhans. The Chauhans is earlier known as the Chahamanas, were the feudal lords. Here, feudal lords means a lord in a feudal system. During the rule of the Pratiharas, they established their kingdom first in Ajmer in the 11th century and later acquired control over Delhi from the Tumars and shifted their capital to Delhi. Next, we are going to learn about the battles of Tarain. The first battle at Tarain took place in 1191. Prithviraj united some Rajput kings to face Muhammad Ghori. Here we can see the picture of Prithviraj Chauhan and Muhammad Ghori. Unfortunately, Jaichand, the ruler of Kannauj, did not join this confederation. In the battle, Ghori was wounded and defeated, which caused his army to flee. Here, confederation means league, association or union. Flee means run away. So, unfortunately, Jaichand, he was the ruler of Kannauj. He did not join this association. So, in the battle, Ghori was wounded and defeated, which caused his army to flee, which means to run away. Now, let's see Sultan Mahmud of Ghazni in detail. Sultan Mahmud of Ghazni of Afghanistan ruled from 997 CE to 1030 CE. Muhammad of Ghazni attacked the subcontinent 17 times in search of wealth. He mainly attacked the temple towns such as Somnath, Nagarkot, Mathura, Kannauj and others. He was of the belief, here he refers to Mahmud of Ghazni, was of the belief that all the wealth and gold of India was hidden in the temples, and he wanted the wealth to support his own kingdom and his army. Here, army means armed forces or soldiers. Next, we are going to learn about administration of the kingdoms. The kings were thought to be gifted with divine qualities. They assumed titles like Maharajadiraja, Parameshwara, etc. So these terms meant Lord or God. Kingship was hereditary. So here, hereditary monarchy means it is a form of government and succession of power in which the throne passes from one member of a ruling family to another member of the same family. In other words, a series of rulers from the same family would constitute, which means form a dynasty. They enjoyed unlimited powers and were the commander of the forces. They took upon the role of judges in cases of disputes. Here, disputes means arguments or quarrels. They appointed council of ministers to help them in administration, and departments were allocated to them. Then, officials were appointed to look after the law and order and collect revenue. Villages were the smallest unit of administration, and the headman looked after the administration of the village. In cities, there were local committees to look after the affairs of the cities. Here, affairs means events or incidents. Next, we are going to learn about revenue. The kings needed money to finance their administrative employees and maintain the army and to work for the welfare of the society. Money was also needed to fight wars and finance the construction of forts, palaces, and temples. Money collected was at times given away as rewards to selected people. Next, we are going to learn about revenue collection. The various ways of collecting money were as follows. So, there are various ways to collect money were as follows. The first one is farmers were required to give a part of their earnings in crop or its value to the king. Second one, other people like the traders, the artisans were also required to give a tax in kind or cash to the king. At times, the kings collected peculiar and vague taxes like tax for using of a ladder by the peasant, the use of cart, thatching of houses, and so on. Those who were unable to pay tax money had to pay back by working as labor for the king. Here, peculiar means unusual, vague means unclear, peasant means farmer, thatching means cover a roof or a building with straw or a similar material. So, at times, the kings collected peculiar, which means unusual, and vague, which means unclear taxes like tax for using of a ladder by the peasant, which means farmer, the use of cart, thatching of houses. So what is mean by thatching? Which means cover a roof or a building with straw or a similar material, and so on. Then those who are unable to pay tax money had to pay back by working as labor for the king. First, we are going to see definition of a case study. A case is a factual description of events that actually happened at some point in the past. It is designed to elicit discussion and analysis of a particular situation. Here, factual means truthful or realistic. Description means explanation. Elicit means provoke or cause. Analysis means study or investigation. So, a case is a factual description. Here, factual description means truthful or realistic explanation of events that actually happened at some point in the past. It is designed to elicit. Here, elicit means provoke or cause discussion and analysis of a particular situation. Here, analysis means study or investigate a particular situation. Next, we are going to see the Cholas, a case study. The Chola dynasty was one of the ancient dynasties which ruled in South India. It maintained its prestige under the Sangam age, but gradually it reduced to become a feudatory of the Pallavas. Now let's see some keywords. Dynasties, ancient, prestige, feudatory. Dynasties means a sequence of rulers from the same family. Ancient means olden or yearly. Prestige means respect or status. Feudatory means a person who holds land under the conditions of the feudal system. Chola dynasty was one of the ancient dynasties. Here, ancient dynasties means olden dynasties which ruled in South India. It maintained its prestige. Here, prestige means respect or status under the Sangam age, but gradually. Here, gradually means slowly. It reduced to become a feudatory of the Pallavas. So, what is meant by feudatory? Feudatory means a person who holds land under the conditions of the feudal system. Vijayalaya was the founder of the revived Chola dynasty. Here we can see the picture of Vijayalaya, revival of Chola dynasty. He belonged to the chieftain family of the Cholas from Urayur. He broke away from the Pallavas and conquered Tanjavur and established his capital there. Here, chieftain means a leader of a group. Conquered means captured. So, he belonged to the chieftain family. Here, he refers to Vijayalaya. Vijayalaya belonged to the chieftain family. So, what is meant by chieftain? Chieftain means a leader of a group of the Cholas from Urayur. He broke away from the Pallavas and conquered. So, what is meant by conquered? Conquered means captured Tanjavur and established his capital there. He also built a temple for goddess Nishumba Sudini there. Here we can see the picture of the temple. His son Aditya was his successor who brought a lot of glory. Here, glory means honor to this kingdom, but the power was crushed by Rashtrakutas, and this dynasty remained subdued for about 30 years. So, what is meant by subdued? Subdue means bring a country or people under control by force. Next, we are going to learn about art and architecture. First, we have to know what is meant by art. Art means the expression or application of human creative skill and imagination, typically in a visual form such as painting or sculpture. Architecture means the art or practice of designing and constructing buildings. So, the Chola temples are famous for Tamil architecture. Agriculture and irrigation. Agriculture played a vital role in the growth of the Chola Empire. The Kaveri River and the delta formed by it close to the Bay of Bengal had very fertile land around it. Here we can see the picture of fertile land. The rulers took interest in developing and improving the irrigation facilities, which helped boost production. Here we can see the pictures of irrigation system. Wells were also dug to have subsoil water. Reservoirs and embankments were constructed at various places to prevent flooding or to channelize water through canals. Here we can see the pictures of reservoir and embankment. Now we are going to revise the bookmark questions with answers. Section A. Choose the correct option. Question number 1. Mihir Bhoja was the outstanding ruler of option 1 Palas, option 2 Rajputs, option 3 Gujjara Pradikaras, option 4 Cholas. So the correct answer is option 3 Gujjara Pradikaras. Question number 2. A ritual called Hiranyagarbha was performed by a Rashtrakuta chief. Option 1 Mayurashraman, option 2 Harichandra, option 3 Dandidurga, option 4 Harsha. So the correct answer is option 3 Dandidurga. Question number 3. The outstanding ruler of the Pradikaras was option 1 Mahendra Bala, option 2 Mihir Bhoja, option 3 Nagabhatta, option 4 Rajabala. So the correct answer is option 2 Mihir Bhoja. Question number 4. The capital of the Rashtrakutas was option 1 Madurai, option 2 Patna, option 3 Kannauj, option 4 Malkhet. So the correct answer is option 4 Malkhet. Question number 5. Pala dynasty was founded by option 1 King Rajaraja, option 2 King Rajendra, option 3 King Gopala, option 4 Mihir Bhoja. So the correct answer is option 3 King Gopala. Question number 6. The Palas established their kingdom in option 1 Gujarat, option 2 Rajasthan, option 3 Tamil Nadu, option 4 Bengal. So the correct answer is option 4 Bengal. Question number 7. Vikramshila University was established by King option 1 Devabala, option 2 Dharambala, option 3 Dandidurga, option 4 Mihir Bhoja. So the correct answer is option 2 Dharambala. Question number 8. The tripartite struggle took place to acquire control over option 1 Kannauj, option 2 Patna, option 3 Tanjore, option 4 Patliputra. So the correct answer is option 1 Kannauj. Question number 9. Battle of Tarain took place between option 1 Prithviraj Chauhan and Muhammad Ghori, option 2 Prithviraj Chauhan and Muhammad of Ghazni, option 3 Jaichand and Muhammad Ghori, option 4 Jaichand and Muhammad of Ghazni. So the correct answer is option 1 Prithviraj Chauhan and Muhammad Ghori. Question number 10. Muhammad of Ghazni raided India option 1 10 times, 2 12 times, option 3 15 times, option 4 17 times. So the correct answer is option 4 17 times. Question number 11. The capital of the Cholas was option 1 Madurai, option 2 Tanjavur, option 3 Kanjipuram, option 4 Kannauj. So the correct answer is option 2 Tanjavur. Question number 12. Who got the title of Gangaikonda Chola? Option 1 Rajaraja the First, option 2 Rajendra the First, option 3 Vijayalaya, option 4 none of these. So the correct answer is option 2 Rajendra the First. Question number 13. The directly governed regions of the Chola kingdom was divided into districts known as option 1 Nadus, option 2 Natlas, option 3 Mahasabhas, option 4 Nagarata. So the correct answer is option 1 Nadus. Section B. fill in the blanks. Question number 1. Pradikaras were attacked and defeated in 1019 CE by the forces of dash. So the correct answer is Muhammad Ghazni. Question number 2. The last ruler Karka II of the dash dynasty was defeated by the Chalukya king in 973 CE. So the correct answer is Rashtrakuta dynasty. Question number 3. The Palas received a blow at the hands of dash. So the answer is Vijayasena. Question number 4. Rajputs were known to be of two descents, the dash and the dash. So the answer is the sun and the moon. Question number 5. The second battle of Terrain was fought in dash. So the correct answer is 1192. Section D. Match the following. First one is Bragdishwara temple. So the correct answer is Rajaraja the first. Second one is bronze sculptures. Answer is Cholas. The next one is Rashtrakutas. Answer is Malkate. Next, Vikramshila. The correct answer is Palas. Next, Bakhtiyar Kalchi. So the correct answer is Turkish invader. Next, Kanauj. Correct answer is tripartite struggle. Finally, we have Ajmer. So the correct answer is Chauhans. Section E. Answer the following questions very briefly. Question number 1. Who were Samantas? Question number 2. Name 2 Brahmins who became kings. Question number 3. Name some prominent rulers of the Rashtrakuta dynasty. Question number 4. Who founded the Pala dynasty? Name the areas which were part of this dynasty. Question number 5. What was the contribution of the king Dharambala to the field of learning? Question number 6. Name some prominent Rajput kingdoms. Question number 7. Why did Muhammad of Ghazni attack temple towns in India? Question number 8. Why did kings need money? Question number 9. What were the activities associated with the Chola temples? Section F. Answer the following questions in detail. Question number 1. Write down the duties of the Samantas. How did they gain independence from the kings? Question number 2. Write down the main achievements of the Rashtrakutas. Question number 3. Name the dynasties that fought with each other to acquire control over Kanauj. Give reasons for the conflict and what was the result. Question number 4. Explain in detail the rise and fall of the power of Prithviraj Chauhan. Question number 5. What do you know about the Chola administration? Question number 6. Chola rulers took interest in agriculture. What steps were taken by them to improve irrigation? So I hope you are all having PDF notes. In that you can read short answers and detailed answers as well. Next, we are going to revise map skill. Students, now you are going to take page number 13. Now look at the map. Here we can see those areas marked in the light pink color shows the areas under the control of Rashtrakutas. Students, you are going to mark only one area under the control of Rashtrakutas, like Malkhed. Malkhed is a town in Karnataka. Then we can see those areas marked in the light pink color shows the areas under the control of Palas. Students, here also you are going to mark only one area under the control of Palas, like Baharpur. Baharpur is a town in Gaya district in the Indian state of Bihar. Students, then we can see those areas marked in the blue color shows the areas under the control of Gurjara Pradikaras. Here you are going to mark 4 areas like Indraprastha, Kanauj, Prayaga and Benares. Indraprastha is mentioned in ancient Indian literature as a city of the Guru kingdom. Then Kanauj. Kanauj is located at Uttar Pradesh. Then Prayaga is also located at Uttar Pradesh. Finally, Benares. Benares is also located at Uttar Pradesh. Then students, take page number 17. Here we can see those areas marked in the light pink color shows the areas under the control of Cholas like Kanji, Gangaikonda Cholapuram, Urayur and Tanjavur. So students, I hope you are clear with this map skill. Next, we are going to revise the second chapter in geography, which is Inside Our Earth. Now, let's see the gist of the lesson. Layers of the earth. Under this, we have crust, mantle and core. Next, we have rocks. Classification of rocks. Under this, we have igneous rocks, sedimentary rocks and metamorphic rocks. Next, we have rock cycle, uses of rocks, and finally, we have minerals. The earth is divided into 4 main layers like crust, mantle, outer core and inner core. Here we can see the picture of layers of the earth. Classification of rocks. Rocks are classified into 3 types like igneous rocks, sedimentary rocks and metamorphic rocks. Igneous rocks are classified into intrusive igneous rocks and extrusive igneous rocks. Sedimentary rocks are classified into organic and inorganic rocks. Inorganic itself we have chemical and mechanical. Then metamorphic rocks are classified into 2, thermal and dynamic. So let's see one by one in detail in the next class. Now we are going to see the pictorial representation of the rock cycle. Igneous rocks are the primary or parent rocks. It is the rock which is formed first on the earth. So that's why it do not contain any fossils. When these igneous rocks are weathered, which means broken down, eroded or transported and deposited at some places to form sedimentary rocks. So the sedimentary rocks are formed when the igneous rocks are eroded and get deposited at various time intervals. That's why the sedimentary rocks contain number of layers. So that is called strata. So hence it is also called stratified rocks. So again, these sedimentary rocks, when subjected to high temperature and high pressure, it gets transformed to metamorphic rocks. Again, these metamorphic rocks will disintegrate, and then once again the rock cycle will continues. So it is a endless process. So this endless process is called rock cycle. So I hope you are clear. So again I will explain you. It starts with magma, the molten magma, then it again forms into igneous rocks. The molten magma cools down and then it forms the igneous rocks. It is also called primary or parent rocks. Then it eroded by natural elements like wind and water. So the igneous rocks will get weathered, which means it will get broken down into small fine particles and get deposited at the coastal areas. So that's called as sedimentary rocks. So the sedimentary rocks has many layers in it, and then under high temperature and pressure it changes to metamorphic rocks. Again, when metamorphic rocks subjected to high temperature or high pressure, it will again get into molten form, magma. So this process will continues. This endless process is called rock cycle. Next, let's see about uses of rocks. Rocks are used by humans for various construction activities. They are used in making roads, houses, buildings, etc. Rocks are crushed, grinded, cut and polished to change their shape and size to make them usable in different forms. First, we have to know what are minerals. Minerals are chemical substances which exist in nature. Minerals are naturally occurring substances which have distinct physical and chemical properties. Here, distinct means different. So, minerals are naturally occurring substances which have different physical and chemical properties. Each mineral has its specific chemical composition and may or may not be available in pure form. Rocks are composed of various minerals. The huge variety of minerals is dispersed. Here, dispersed means spread over a wide area in different concentrations and not available in uniform proportions across the earth's surface. Here, proportions means sizes. Now, we are going to revise the book back questions with answers. Section A. Choose the correct option. Question number 1. The uppermost part of the earth's surface is called the option 1 crust, option 2 mantle, option 3 outer core, option 4 inner core. So the correct answer is option 1 crust. Question number 2. Nickel and iron are found in option 1 crust, option 2 mantle, option 3 inner core, option 4 outer core. So the correct answer is option 4 outer core. Question number 3. The main constituents of the continental mass are option 1 silica and magnesium, option 2 silica and aluminium, option 3 nickel and ferrous. Option 4, silica and nickel. So the correct answer is option 2, silica and aluminium. Question number 4. Thickness of the continental areas in the crust is option 1, 12 km, option 2, 15 km, option 3, 25 km, option 4, 35 km. So the correct answer is option 4, 35 km. Question number 5. The thickness of the mantle is option 1, 2500 km, option 2, 2700 km, option 3, 2900 km, option 4, 3000 km. So the correct answer is option 3, 2900 km. Question number 6. Which one of the following rocks are also called volcanic rocks? Option 1, metamorphic, option 2, sedimentary, option 3, igneous, option 4, both 1 and 2. So the correct answer is option 3, igneous. Question number 7. The rocks which are formed by cooling of magma are option 1, igneous, option 2, sedimentary, option 3, metamorphic, option 4, permeable. So the correct answer is option 1, igneous. Question number 8. Which type of rocks contain fossils and plant remains? Option 1, extrusive igneous, option 2, intrusive igneous, option 3, sedimentary, option 4, metamorphic. So the correct answer is option 3, sedimentary. Section B, fill in the blanks. Question number 1. The earth has a diameter of dash kilometer at the equator. So the answer is 12,742 kilometer. Question number 2. Any natural mass of mineral matter that makes up the earth's crust is called dash. So the answer is rock. Question number 3. Dash rocks are called primary rocks. So the correct answer is igneous. Question number 4. Intrusive rocks are formed when magma cools dash the earth's crust. So the answer is within. Question number 5. Limestone changes to dash. So the answer is marble. Question number 6. Extrusive rocks have a dash structure. So the answer is fine grained. Section C. Distinguish between the following. Question number 1. Igneous and sedimentary rocks. Question number 2. Core and crust. Question number 3. Extrusive and intrusive rocks. Section D. Match the columns. Question number 1. Sedimentary rocks. So the correct answer is rocks formed by the deposition of sediments brought by the action of wind and water, etc. Question number 2. Igneous rocks. Correct answer is rocks formed by cooling of magma. Question number 3. Fossils. So the correct answer is remains of dead plants or animals trapped in the layers of rocks. Question number 4. Crust. Correct answer is the uppermost layer of the earth surface. Question number 5. Outer core. Correct answer is it is liquid in nature and constitutes iron and nickel. Question number 6. Inner core. Correct answer is it is mainly composed of iron. Section E. Answer the following questions briefly. Question number 1. Why is it very difficult to go inside the earth? Question number 2. How are rocks generally classified? Question number 3. How are sedimentary rocks formed? Question number 4. How are rocks useful to us? Question number 5. What are minerals? Section F. Answer the following questions in detail. Question number 1. Explain the structure of the earth. Question number 2. What is rock cycle? Explain in detail. So I hope you are all having PDF notes. In that you can read short answers and detailed answers as well. Next, we are going to revise the second chapter in civics, which is democracy in India. Now, let's see the gist of the lesson. Introduction part, universal adult franchise, the elections. Under the elections, we have general elections, midterm elections and by-elections. Next, we have discussed about election commission, secret ballot, majority, candidate, political parties, functions of the political parties, national parties, coalition government. Then finally, we have seen state-wise number of parliamentary constituencies. Now, we are going to revise the book back questions with answers. Section A. Choose the correct option. Question number 1. India was a colony of option 1. Great Britain. Option 2. Germany. Option 3. Italy. Option 4. France. So the correct answer is option 1. Great Britain. Question number 2. Midterm elections are held in case option 1. A member resigns. Option 2. A member passes away. Option 3. A member shifts party. Option 4. Government fails to retain its majority. So the correct answer is option 4. Government fails to retain its majority. Question number 3. By-elections are held when option 1. A member resigns. Option 2. A member passes away. Option 3. Both 1 and 2. Option 4. Government fails to retain its majority. So the correct answer is option 3. Both 1 and 2. Question number 4. Elections are organized by option 1. President. Option 2. Prime Minister. Option 3. Union Public Services Commission. Option 4. Election Commission. So the correct answer is option 4. Election Commission. Question number 5. Who prepares the list of voters? Option 1. Chief Minister. Option 2. President. Option 3. Election Commission. Option 4. Governor. So the correct answer is option 3. Election Commission. Question number 6. National parties are political parties which are recognized in at least option 1. 2 states. Option 2. 3 states. Option 3. 4 states. Option 4. 10 states. So the correct answer is option 3. 4 states. Question number 7. Political parties offer different policies to the people through option 1. Manifestos. Option 2. Election rallies. Option 3. Door-to-door campaign. Option 4. All of these. So the correct answer is option 4. All of these. Question number 8. Role of opposition is option 1. To raise questions to the government on their failure. Option 2. Shape public opinion. Option 3. Critically examine the policies of the government. Option 4. All of the above. So the correct answer is option 4. All of the above. Section B. Fill in the blanks. Question number 1. In India, all citizens who have attained the age of dash are eligible to vote. So the correct answer is 18. Question number 2. A person who wishes to contest the election is called a dash. The correct answer is candidate. Question number 3. The party with dash majority forms the government. So the correct answer is clear. Question number 4. The party that does not get majority plays the role of dash in the parliament. So the correct answer is opposition. Question number 5. The votes are counted in the presence of the dash of the candidate or dash parties. So the answer is representatives are political. Section D. Answer the following questions briefly. Question number 1. What do you understand by universal adult franchise? Question number 2. What is the difference between midterm elections and by-elections? Question number 3. Define secret ballot. Question number 4. Why are election symbols allotted to parties or candidates? Question number 5. What is the role of opposition in the parliament? Question number 6. Who prepares the voters list? Question number 7. Who is an independent candidate? Question number 8. When is a coalition government formed? Section E. Answer the following questions in detail. Question number 1. List 5 important functions of political parties. Question number 2. How is a coalition government formed? Question number 3. List some important functions of the Election Commission. So I hope you are all having PDF notes. In that you can read short answers and detailed answers as well. Next, we are going to revise the third chapter in civics, which is state government. Now, let's see the gist of the lesson. We have already discussed about introduction part, what is government, constituencies, elections for the state government. Then we have seen state legislature, the governor, member of legislative assembly, that is MLA, chief minister, powers of the chief minister. Then we have discussed about functions of the legislative assembly. Under this we have to make laws, passing of budget, controlling the executive. Then we have seen state legislative council. Finally, we have discussed about people and governance. Now we are going to revise the book back questions with answers. Section A. Choose the correct option. Question number 1. In India, we have option 1, 24 states and 4 union territories. Option 2, 25 states and 6 union territories. Option 3, 27 states and 7 union territories. Option 4, 28 states and 8 union territories. So the correct answer is option 4, 28 states and 8 union territories. Question number 2. The governor of the state is appointed by option 1 Prime Minister, option 2 Chief Minister, option 3 President, option 4 none of these. So the correct answer is option 3 President. Question number 3. MLAs are elected for option 1 3 years, option 2 4 years, option 3 5 years, option 4 6 years. So the correct answer is option 3 5 years. Question number 4. Cabinet meetings in the state are presided over by option 1 Chief Minister, option 2 Prime Minister, option 3 Judge, option 4 Governor. So the correct answer is option 1 Chief Minister. Question number 5. At the state level, a bill becomes a law after the approval by the option 1 Chief Minister, option 2 Cabinet, option 3 Chief Justice, option 4 Governor. So the correct answer is option 4 Governor. Question number 6. Income and expenditure of the government is called option 1 bill, option 2 budget, option 3 statement, option 4 law. So the correct answer is option 2 budget. Question number 7. Budget in the state legislature is presented by option 1 Health Minister, option 2 Home Minister, option 3 Finance Minister, option 4 Foreign Minister. So the correct answer is option 3 Finance Minister. Question number 8. The members of Legislative Council are elected for option 1 4 years, option 2 5 years, option 3 6 years, option 4 7 years. So the correct answer is option 2 5 years. Section B. Fill in the blanks. Question number 1. The state which has one house is called dash. So the answer is unicameral. Question number 2. Bill can become a law after the approval of dash. So the correct answer is governor. Question number 3. To contest the election for the state legislative assembly, candidate should be at least dash years of age. So the correct answer is 25 years of age. Question number 4. In legislative assembly, members of dash parties give their critical views on bills. So the correct answer is opposition. Question number 5. Dash is the main link between the government and the state cabinet. So the correct answer is Chief Minister. Section D. Answer the following questions briefly. Question number 1. What do you understand by state legislature? Question number 2. Define constituency. Question number 3. What is canvassing? Question number 4. Who is MLA? Question number 5. What do you understand by collective responsibility? Question number 6. What does the budget contain? Question number 7. Who controls the executive? Section E. Answer the following questions in detail. Question number 1. How is a governor appointed? List the powers of the governor. Question number 2. How is a chief minister appointed? List the powers of the chief minister. Question number 3. How does bill become a law? Question number 4. What is a press conference? Question number 5. How do people express their views and grievances to the government in a democracy? So I hope you are all having PDF notes. In that you can read short answers and detailed answers as well. Students, prepare well for your exams. So now we have reached the end of this session. Thank you.